Joining me now is Andy Mock. He's a senior research fellow at the Center for China and Globalization. Andy, you just saw the piece, Omar Khan talking about high-fly tech. Talk to us about the tech innovations that we are seeing there in China.
Well, Mike, certainly over the last 10, 15 years, the technology scene in China has undergone radical transformation. So not that long ago, tech investors in Silicon Valley talked about C to C or B to C, copy to China. Meaning that everything, the technology, the business models, were developed in the United States and were copied to China. And the goal of Chinese business, especially technology business, was just to learn and adapt and copy as quickly as possible. Today, we see a number of companies in a range of technical fields where China is leading, from Huawei in 5G to DJI in drones to genomics, and of course in AI as well, as we just saw with iFlyTech. So clearly, China's made remarkable, if not miraculous, advances. And I think looking ahead, we can expect more of the same.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Andy, as you know, Biden just signing this measure to increase U.S. chip production because there's all this talk that the U.S. is way too reliant on China. How's that legislation being viewed there?
Well, I think this is a very difficult problem, Mike. There's a structural element to the semiconductor industry, and there's a geopolitical competition element. So semiconductors, as we all know, really are vital to our modern lives. Everything from toothbrushes to fighter jets, civilian jets rely on semiconductors. And from a structural perspective, there are 2 points of single point failure possibilities. So we heard in the piece that something like 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors come not only from one part of the world, but from one company, TSMC. If we move further up the supply chain, the most advanced technology used to make semiconductors today is called EUV, and it's delivered by one company, ASML in the Netherlands. So if there's something that would happen to either of those companies, that would present tremendous supply chain disruptions around the world. So I think this is one element that the CHIPS Act is designed to address, which is a good thing. And I think China, the EU, also recognizes the importance of building a certain resiliency in the semiconductor supply chain. The unfortunate and I think misguided part of that is this targeting of China. And we see that the U.S. framing is that this is a competition, whether that's autocracies versus democracies or some geopolitical contest for supremacy, that this framing is really destructive and self-destructive, whereas the Chinese approach is that China and the U.S. are the 2 biggest, arguably the most important countries in the world from a technological, economic perspective, and that working together really is a much better solution. And if we can avoid this kind of prisoner's dilemma where both sides are forced to take destructive actions and can work together, this really would be much better for everyone around the world.
Andy Mock joining us from China, talking about tech and innovations. Thanks so much for your analysis. Appreciate it.